and New Hope. So I'm in New Hope for this next project. I'm here to map out the town. It's gonna be a lot of fun stuff to see. It's a very artsy little town here in Pennsylvania. I'll show you what I'll see. If you ever find yourself in Bucks County, Pennsylvania, don't miss out on visiting New Hope. New Hope is a quaint little town that lives along the Delaware River right on the other side of its sibling, New Jersey's Lambertville, which is also a cute town worth visiting. You can start your morning with a walk or bike ride along the Delaware Canal. Then treat yourself to some retail therapy while you browse the shops along Main Street. Grab a nice cup of coffee, and depending on your time, you can either take a ride on the New Hope Railroad or go for a boat ride, or spend a haunted evening on a ghost tours of New Hope. New Hope also abounds in craft stores, antique shops, restaurants, historic buildings, museums, and art galleries. It's a popular destination in Bucks County, one of those places that have a nostalgic, timeless sort of vibe. Probably a good place to film a horror movie. I've been working on creating a vintage-style map of New Hope and Lambertville for a few months now, and I'm more than thrilled to report that it's finished. The planning and sketching stage was the most time-consuming part in this project. It involved a lot of research, aerial views, Google Maps, pictures that I took while getting the lay of the land, as you saw, and other web-based photos that I used for reference, and it still feels like a work of art rather than a work of science and research. Sometimes science is more art than science. In order to get the both towns in the map, the perspective needed to be skewed quite a bit, and additionally, the client also wanted her house to be included in the map, so the map turned out quite compressed at the bottom to accommodate her house. But after many weeks of digital sketching, retouching, and refining, the design was finally approved, and I started to paint the mural. The client wanted her mural to be painted on a canvas so that it can be removable and portable. Should they want to move to another house in the future, they can take it with them. Of course, I've never done this before, and I've had it on my to-do list actually to paint a mural on canvas for a while now, and here was a favorable time to do it. So I went to Blick Art Materials online and ordered a primed cotton canvas roll from Utrecht that was 84 inches by 6 yards. And that was just tall enough for this project, 7 feet, and the mural was set to be 9 feet long, so I still have a good amount of canvas left over. My husband created a wooden frame from a bunch of 2x4s that he attached to our floor and ceiling, and then we mounted the canvas to it. Because of the technical and precise nature of the map and how exactly it needed to be transferred to the canvas from the sketch, I bought a projector because I needed the very structure replicated without all the details. You can see that in the beginning. Then I ended up returning the projector because although it worked well for this enterprise, it didn't project all the way to the floor and I had to tweak it myself, and it ended up being an inconvenience. And considering how expensive it was, I was expecting it to do the job without the extra frustration and work on my part. So let me know if you know of a good short throw projector that can project well on a full wall, floor to ceiling. You can see what I'm doing here. I started with the roads and continued with the green areas and then the water. I made my own mixtures of paints for this mural, as I always mix my own colors to match each other and to be more to my liking. Besides, mixing colors is so satisfying. I aimed for warm, slightly desaturated colors to give the map that nostalgic antique feel, and I kept my color palette fairly restricted. I use mostly golden mural paints with a little mix of the chroma paint. I used a little bit of that aqua blue for the water, and I keep my empty paint jars and I make my own color mixes in there. Then I started painting in the houses, an effortless and speedy process, which you can see in one of my YouTube live streams on Fridays if you're into just chilling while someone tries to paint well to the detriment of their speech performance. And maybe after I do New Hope and Lambertville are connected by the New Hope and Lambertville Bridge. Halfway through the bridge, there is the line between the states of Pennsylvania and New Jersey, so you can have a foot in both at the same time and feel a sense of accomplishment that ordinary living rarely provides. Did you know that the present community, deriving its name from the New Hope Mills, which was built there in 1790 after a fire had destroyed several other mills, was founded by William Lathrop in 1900 and has gained fame as a refuge for painters, writers, composers, and actors. Andy Warhol even had a home in New Hope. Well, I thought that was an interesting fact. Since the light in the client's house is coming from the left, where the room has some large windows, I established the light source in my painting also on the left side. So all the left-facing house walls are bathed in light, giving the painting it a touch of dimension. Got some other little details painted in, like some trees with their cast shadow. Then at the very end I decided to give them some highlights as well. A little boat, gigantic boat, some of the sidewalks and parking lots, fish in the water and little cute bubbles. You know that I have a weakness for bubbles. I highlighted some of the businesses by giving them their own little ribbons with their names on them. All in all, this mural was a challenge from start to finish, from the fact that much research and tedium was involved that perhaps I didn't foresee when I took the job. Serves me right. And you may have noticed that it's a complete different style than what I usually do. There were physical novelties too, like making the frame and hanging the canvas, which actually my husband did, but I carried most of the emotional burden. Oh, hello, this is the map mural that I've been working on for the past month. Just a few more finishing touches. Then painting it was mostly easy but time-consuming nonetheless, and then installing the canvas on the client's wall, which was an experience that I will just call unique and leave it at that. You'll get a short glimpse of the installation process at the very end. And if you're looking for a tutorial on how to do a proper mural canvas installation, one may come in the future, but not yet. Alas, the painting is almost done. And all I have to finish at this point is the frame. I kind of went with the flow with this frame. I knew I wanted something ornate, but what exactly, I didn't know. I wanted it to be fairly unique, but most importantly neat. So I started by using some painter's tape to help me keep straight lines, because straight lines are very difficult, if not impossible, to freehand. And then I created some layers of faux matting, then the actual frame, which I turned from wood as I initially imagined, into more of a metallic surface with the help of some golden statuary bronze for the shadows and iridescent copper for the highlights. Then the little halfway and corner decorations, which are kind of freestyle and delightfully unique and remind me of bismuth, you know, the mineral. So after it was finished, we dismounted the canvas, I trimmed it and rolled it up to prepare for installation the next day. It has been a few months now, about a half a year, since I've focused mainly on art commissions, and it is a blessing and a grace to have paid work, to be able to buy new paints and art supplies, but I can't deny that I do feel a little bit drained. I need to do some personal work to help me focus again on why I'm doing art in the first place. I'd loathe to think of myself as simply a painting machine, just a butter-passing robot that does what it's told. Although, is it not that? I ask you, the meaning of life itself? I live to serve, whether I do it willingly and knowingly or not. Anyhow, going to take the month of March as a regenerative period and start at least on a personal project. Perhaps a couple of small ones, maybe a big one, possibly a dragon, some fantastic landscapes, for all you know, some sacred geometry. We're still undecided. So all I can say to you is stay tuned, leave me a message if you have some suggestions or requests, or if you just want to say hi. And I'll see you in the next one. Cheers. Hello, this is the map mural that I'm with. Oh, hello, this is the mural. Oh, hello, this is the map. It took many years for this statue to get in this terrible condition, but only 2 days to restore it to its original glory. After most of the peeling paint has been removed, I give it 2 generous coats of concrete primer to cover as much of the texture as possible and to provide a smoother surface for a concrete statue. I let it dry overnight. The second day I painted it with golden mural paints, the super vibrant Pyrrole red, phthalo green, white and black to give it an Italian look. Before I was done, I sealed the statue with a Sealcrete wet look to protect it from the sun and the weather elements in general. He looks a lot better than before. This was a fun little project and something I've never done before. I hope you enjoyed hearing about this restoration project and follow for more fun and eclectic art adventures. TTFN! A plain garden gate and a dream of someone dear that you would like to remember every time you go to your healing garden. A quick sketch, a quick block in, and a purple sunset. A pathway to heaven. The connections that we make in the course of a life, maybe that's what heaven is. Pat, 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 dab, 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 and we have highlights and depth. For is it not depth that we all strive for? Purple flowers, red bricks, and green morning glory vines. The most satisfying step is the tape removal. And voila, Josette's wine garden, a dreamy tribute to a loved one. Hi, this is a quick tutorial on how to paint on a concrete statue. You should start with a clean surface, free of debris or old paint, and give it at least 2 generous coats of concrete primer. This is an important step as it will smooth out the surface and fill most of the holes, preparing the surface for the paint. If you skip this step, the concrete will absorb the paint and the holes will still be visible. Then, if you're planning to keep the statue outdoors, you should use some good quality paint that is light fast and will not fade under the sun's ultraviolet rays. I'm trying out a brand of paint that is new to me, Nova, and it is simply the best paint that I've ever used. The pigmentation is really superior and 1 coat of paint provided perfect coverage as opposed to other paints that you need multiple coats. And most Nova paints are graded 1 for light fastness, which means that they will not fade with time. I can't wait to use it for my next mural project. This project concept is to paint the bald eagle in a fairly realistic way and make it look as if he's standing on the American flag. Perfect and just in time for the 4th of July. After I was all done with painting all the details, I coated it with a Sealcrete wet look for further protection from the elements. So while I was painting it, I was wondering, like probably many of you asked yourselves and just never bothered to look it up, why is it called the bald eagle, since it obviously is not bald but has a head full of feathers? The name actually comes from the Old English word piebald, which meant white-headed rather than hairless. Its scientific name is Haliaetus leucocephalus. This name comes from the following 4 Greek root words: hali, which means salt, etus, eagle, leuko, white, and cephalus, head. Put all that together and the bald eagle is a white-headed sea eagle. It's the only sea eagle native to North America. It was chosen as the symbol of the US for its strength, courage, and freedom, as the bald eagle can fly 10,000 feet up in the air for hours, thanks to its 7 feet wingspan. The American bald eagle is also indigenous to North America, making it a unique symbol. According to Sioux medicine man Lame Deer, all the wisdom in the world lies in an eagle. He says, "If you are planning to kill an eagle, the minute you think of that, he knows it, knows what you are planning." The idea to choose the bald eagle as the national symbol was not by fluke after all. The bald eagle is popularly known as the king of birds and was used as a symbol of authority by ancient Babylonians. The bald eagle enjoys huge protection even from mere human disturbance. They are protected by the law. And if you want to check out their impressive courtship acrobatics, I'll encourage you to check that out right now. Thanks for watching and stay free. This is the piece of wood that we're going to be working on today. It's a 4x8 wood panel, and I've got a latex exterior wood primer here that I'm going to give this a nice coat of primer, and then we're going to sketch and paint. 3 coats of primer later, we're ready to sketch the design in. Just go ahead and sketch right onto the wood panel. No need to do a preliminary sketch to share with your client to make sure that the composition is right. Go with your instincts. As they say, first take, best take. Go right ahead and make it detailed. Put all the little doers in there to show that you're really eager and capable of it. They're going to be so impressed. Don't hold back. Use a nice black pencil that is going to not only be difficult to erase later, but also going to show through the paint and need multiple layers to cover. Just take your time and make all the adjustments you need now, because this sketching phase is the most important step. It's the very bones of your painting. If you mess this up, it's... oh no, what's happening? Why is she undoing the best part of a whole day's work? Looks like everything needs to be changed. Look at that. Eraser couldn't erase everything, so she needed to put another layer of primer to cover all these marks.
Maybe there's a better material to sketch design in that is not so traumatizing for the canvas and the artist. Ah yes, look at that. Looks like you can teach an old bit new tricks. The better material for sketching a design onto the substrate of your painting is indeed chalk. Easy to erase with just a damp cloth, it can remove not only unwanted marks and lines, but also the anxiety of making mistakes, which, as you just witnessed, are ineluctable in this profession. Then the painter proceeds to paint, probably the favorite part in this line of work. Sunsets are a favorite. Pretty much any colors work for a sunset, depending on the season. This is supposed to be a California sunset, specifically Paso Robles. Just ask Google what is so special about Paso Robles, and this is what it says. A community of cowboys and innovators, it's where the world-class food, wine and art meet small-town charm. The client was pretty specific about what he wanted, which can make things much easier for the artist. It was indeed a nostalgic childhood place with a palm tree and the windmill house and the great big old wine barn. The beautiful mountains in the distance were also to occupy a substantial space in the painting. The artist is quite proud of these mountains. Golden mural paints and Nova colors were used for this mural painting, as they are high-quality paints with excellent light fastness, which means that they can maintain their vibrancy even if oppressed by the sun's ultraviolet rays for many years. That makes them ideal for indoor as well as outdoor applications, as they are weather resistant once dry. Sadly, this video is not sponsored by either of these brands, which make the recommendation that much more genuine and from the heart. Because the artist has nothing to gain from recommending these paints, but for the eternal gratitude of all the millions of fans and watchers of this beloved and thriving channel. The artist, as all of you, cannot draw a straight line and will require a ruler to make sure that all the roofs and walls are actually linear and perpendicular to the ground. If you want to see the first part of the barn painting, you can visit the link in the comments. The whole process was live streamed and it's still available to watch. After most things are painted or blocked in, they will need either additional detailing or just more definition, or some changes. When you're working on a commission painting for a client, you have two choices. Either maintain daily communication and report your daily progress, or, and this can be risky, after the initial sketch approval, show them the final product for a maximized wow effect. This here was the first and safe option. A daily communication situation, and you can see that some things are changed or improved on a daily basis. Although you may be asked to change some things which can delay your daily progress, it avoids a situation where you have to change everything or even worse, start the whole painting over. After the initial painting of the barn, it needed refining and polishing, and further detailing. For in this process, the artist's dedicated time and precious life force pours forth and permeates into the painting. It is recommended that you paint from the top down or from the back to the front, so you don't get drips on the already painted and detailed surface. The last step is to paint the bottom and foreground layer, the vineyards. And then again, as per request, adding more orange to the sunset. The whole process of painting this 4x8 wood panel took 5 days in total, and it culminated with the varnishing of the piece. Because the wood panel will be outside attached to the client's shed, it will need to be completely sealed from the rain, front and back, and all the sides, to prevent water seeping through the layers of wood and pushing the paint out. So we got about 4 layers of Old Masters satin varnish on the front painted side and 3 on the back side. This varnish is also UV protective, so it adds extra protection from the bleaching sun's rays. And when it is all done, it's difficult to record it without getting any glare on it, but the varnish adds extra crispiness and contrast to the paint. Hopefully this video was helpful to you if you ever want to paint a portable mural on a wood panel or a canvas or any other surface, or even directly on a wall. If you have any questions or comments or words of praise, just kindly leave them in the comment section and they are sure to make someone's day happy. And if you enjoyed your time here today, give us a like, subscribe to the channel if you want to see more of this and other stuff too. Till next time, stay creative and trust the flow. This is a story about a Halloween garage door mural. At this point in the process, I feel like something's missing, something's not quite right. But let's rewind to day 1. Observe the beginner's enthusiasm coupled with the inherent innocence of the naive. My friend, it's been a whole year since I've painted this garage door, so I would say the garage door needs an update and I know just the thing to do it. First, I'm gonna transfer the image with the grid method and you're gonna see how I'm gonna do that. Then I'm just gonna start on painting. These are the last few days of October that the weather is warm outside, so I'm definitely gonna take advantage of that. So let's do that. The grid method of transferring an image to a bigger surface is priceless, not just because you can't buy it, but because it's so useful. It helps you achieve a higher level of accuracy, especially when you have to enlarge your reference substantially, like from a standard 8x11 inch paper size to a 7x10 foot garage door size. Divide your reference photo into equal sections. In my case, I divided it in 16ths by dividing it in half vertically and horizontally, then those sections in half again until I got 16 equal rectangles. Then I did the same with my garage door, but since my garage door has a slightly wider proportion than the reference photo, I just sliced off a section on the left to leave aside, then I divided the rest into equal 16ths. Then I proceeded to draw the outline of my crow, nay raven, by following the lines and the sections. Actually, the details were a lot easier to get right, thanks to the grid method, as opposed to just eyeballing it, which in my experience leads to dispiriting results, a lot of wasted time, and seasonal depression. If you want to have even more precision or greater detail control, you can divide into even more sections, or do a doodle method, which to be honest I never got into, but I know that it exists and many artists use it. In my experience, you start a project or a painting and you get a lot done in the first day or two. And then the further along you get, it seems to slow down exponentially. Like when you're climbing the stairs during a bad trip and the more you climb, the longer the stairwell gets, and you never make it to the top and you suddenly feel that there's something catching up behind you, which is all those forgotten mind droppings that never came to materialize due to your constant hesitation and procrastination. I think that 80% of this painting was completed in the first 3 days, and then the next 2 weeks were all about details, self-doubt, and reconsidering my whole life as an artist. But you know what they say, the greater the artist, the greater the doubt. I started by using mainly 2 colors for this painting, a light warm peachy cream color instead of a white, and a bluish black, like a homemade Payne's gray if you will. I'm still using Golden Mural Paintworks and Nova paints for my mural work, which are the best quality paints that I've used so far since my humble beginnings as a muralist nearly a decade ago. Can't believe it's been so long. And I've experimented with student quality acrylic paints, latex wall paints, better quality latex wall paints, chroma mural paints, and now the golden mural and nova paints, which are perfect to use for interior and exterior murals as they keep their vibrancy and integrity even after prolonged exposure to the sun and the elements, even without varnish. By day 3, I was still having fun, painting the feather details, which I wanted to make the spotlight of the painting when I decided on the theme of this year's seasonal garage door mural. Not that it gets a new mural every season, I could only keep up with that for the first year, then it became more like a yearly update. If you want to see the previous murals that I've done on my garage door, let me know in the comments. This is number 8. Somehow it seems fitting for a raven to be number 8, seeing how the number 8 is a connecting number, representing the link between the earthly and the divine worlds, symbolizing a balance between the materialistic and the spiritual world. Laid on its side, number 8 is the symbol of infinity. Hence, 8 is associated with a continuous flow of energy and power, be it related to money, material wealth, health, or wisdom. The number 8 is also a Fibonacci number that appears naturally all over the world and carries the vibrations of universal life. You've got to admit, it's a human thing to always seek symbolism and science in everything one does. It keeps the game important, because the opposite would be too dreadful to think about. And what is a Halloween painting without a big glowing orange moon to give the whole scene an otherworldly, mysterious and magical feel? It just had to happen, if not only for the need of a bit of contrast of chroma. You've got some darks and cools, you need some bright, warm colors too. And at this point, I just want to draw your attention on the importance of stepping back often and making sure that your proportions are right, especially when you go and improvise like this, aka making sure that the moon is big enough and not wasting too much precious time painting the details like a fool over and over again until you have the right moon size. Just a side note for a friend. Eventually I got out my compass because the globular nature of the initial moon started to shift more towards an eldritch shape. And for the first couple of days I thought that I was painting a crow, when in fact I was painting a raven, which is kind of a bigger, stronger and calmer crow. I know that now thanks to a full YouTube video binge on the difference between crows and ravens one late evening. Ravens also have an upper beak that curves like a hook over the lower one, and those ruffled feathers around the neck area, which is how I realized what corvid I'm dealing with. I mean, both crows and ravens are some of the smartest birds on our planet, and they can even talk like humans, which sent me into another YouTube rabbit hole on talking ravens. Check out Fable the Raven, and I promise that it won't be a waste of your time unlike some other videos on the platform. By the 4th day the mural was very close to finish. I started adding the darkest, blackest shadows and just adding more contrast in general. When I started the mural and for the first 3 days I worked from a paper print on my laser printer, which did not depict the darks quite as genuine as the original picture, so I had a bit of refining to do all over. Bringing out the deep shadows improved the picture a lot, but the hardest part was still to come. Painting the moonlight reflected on the bird's feathers on the left side. Of course, I could have bought a bird and made a setup with an orange light source behind it and worked from that, but that just seemed like too much work, and also I just thought of the idea. Initially, when I brought the raven mural idea to my husband, his fevered imagination immediately added a ghostly, gory eyeball in its beak. Well, I kind of forgot about that when I made the initial drawing on the door, and then I thought I can probably just hang it on a chain and put it in a nice locket and steampunk it a bit so that it's cute and not disgusting at all. But like all things not properly planned, this was an experimental process that went through quite a few stages, as I could just not make up my mind about how I wanted it to look. It was getting lost in the design. It wasn't dark enough, it wasn't bright enough. I mean, I tried. Then it dawned on me. The problem was that it was too bloody small. So forget that whole steampunk locket idea. It's Halloween anyway. Just make it look good for now. And satisfy my husband's love of grim, macabre, and frightful things for now. I've brought it to a place where I'm actually quite pleased with it, worthy of spending at least 1 year on my garage door. Maybe I'll paint some additions next spring. I kinda wanted to give him a friend. What do you think we should call him? Oh, and not that I like telling people what to do, but if you're in the vicinity of that like button, give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel if you want to see more of whatever this was. Art, painting, blabberings. Happy Halloween out there, stay safe and brush your teeth well tonight. This is Laura Dreams, signing out for now.
Allô, yeti di kujulila, ilela di konyana, ilela di konyana. Allô, yeti di kujulila, ilela di konyana, ilela di konyana. Allô, yeti di kujulila, ilela di konyana, ilela di konyana.